Just a little bit, we had snow on the ground.
Yeah,
We had
oh, yeah.
snow 3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah, we're hoping to go today.
She says her garden has this much snow still in her yard and this.
Wells, we were in Wells today, we
Right.
didn't have any snow in Wells, a little bit up in, Nature's.
How you doing?
Good, you don't?
We won't have much up there by the end of the weekend.
I hope it's gone. Although,
We know each other?
ACC Communications,
You
right?
got it.
I recognize the hat.
I was on vacation when your,
Oh, is that?
CUP came up, that's what it is, that's why I don't know. I'm Joe Pierce.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
And why are you here, can I ask?
We'd like to add auto repair to our conditional use,
Okay,
which we shouldn't have taken off in the first place.
yep,
And I think you wanted to do an inspection station.
And the inspection
Wanted
station.
to add
Yep.
on to that side of the building, so.
We've just grown so much.
You talked to Don,
I did.
I turned that back over, I think, a week or two ago, it was a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago.
okay.
It's been in the works for a little.
Yeah, I remember you telling me something,
Right.
yeah,
So I didn't know if we could just put it back on, or we've gotta go through
you gotta go through.
all the letters and such.
Yeah, you gotta go through everything all over again. We'll open up your conditional use permit, and it will essentially be a new conditional use permit, or look at the whole thing, is what we're gonna do.
Okay. The reason I'm coming for this is because we want an inspection station, so we can inspect all of our trucks and
Sure.
stuff. So the state has to make sure the use is permitted
Yep,
before they'll okay it and come and inspect us.
so, get the conditional use permit, a copy of your conditional use permit that you have, get a new application form, and follow it through, make it out for everything you want, and then some. And, I want you to make money, you know, I
That's
mean.
the whole idea of it.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, right?
Right.
So, we'll figure out how to help you make some money, you know?
We did a CUP for a, used car lot, and, maintenance and stuff like that for a guy, Pine Tree Sales right across from the Whistle Stop.
Okay.
Maybe 3 years ago or something, we still have a copy of it. And, we can
Hello.
send you a copy of that, so you
Hello.
can see what the conditions were and stuff, give you an idea.
Mainly it's to repair our own stuff,
Yeah,
because we've got like 15, 16 vehicles now, trucks.
so if you come back in 2 weeks, you will be on the agenda,
Okay.
and we will take up that, your application, then we will schedule a, site walk and a public hearing,
Okay.
just the way we did the last time, I assume, as I said, wasn't here. And then we'll take it up, it takes us, 2 or 3 meetings, but you'll be, by June, you'll be through
We were hoping we could push it sooner, but obviously not,
just,
because we're just trying to get the inspection license going.
I get it, we need time to, we're required by the ordinance to have a 10-day period of time between when we put it in the shopper's guide and when we have the public hearing, between when we put it in the shopper's guide and when we have the site walk. And we've learned through hard experience not to put these ads out and not to schedule this stuff until we see the application.
That's understandable.
You know, so that's as fast as we can move, sort of by ordinance.
Okay. When's the next time you're in the office, Don?
I will be here tomorrow from 8 to 12.
Okay.
I'm almost always here Fridays, 8 to 12.
And
And if you need help filling that out or anything like that,
I'll swing down and see you.
I can help you.
what's your name? I'm sorry.
Al Clark.
Al Clark. Okay. Yeah,
Because it was permitted there before.
Yes.
But I took it off.
yep, no, I
Didn't
get
think
it,
we were gonna do it.
That's always the way, unfortunately.
yep,
Stupid, but.
I
yeah.
get it,
No, it happens.
Okay.
yep,
Okay, also, we wanted to put an addition on that shop,
yep,
and what do we need to do? We'd like to go bigger than the setbacks are. The setback is 10 feet, I believe, on that side.
Yes, it is.
Is there any way we can get a variance to go?
so what you have to do is you have to come to us and ask, or you go to him and ask, he turns you down, you appeal to the appeals board
Okay,
for a variance. I can't, we can't do that, we don't do that.
Or given that he owns the land next door. And one option I suggested was possibly transferring some of that lot onto the lot where he needs the extra.
which I didn't wanna go through all that if I didn't have to.
But that might be an easier way to go.
That'd be a shorter way to go. You know, our appeals board meets once every 5 or 10 years, so.
I wanna get it done in the near future.
It's just a word of caution there, that's all. Yeah, if you could change your property lines, that'd be great. But then put it in your application. Come on in, come on, we haven't even started the meeting.
This one.
I'm just talking with Al.
And this one here, you mean?
Yep.
The
Yep.
application?
Put everything you ever wanna do. Oh, boy.
That's getting a little extreme.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
don't hold back. If you really aren't gonna do it, don't put it in there, but,
Right,
you know.
okay, I'll be in to see you tomorrow, Don.
Sounds
Hey,
good.
guys, thank you.
Thank you, Al. How are you, Victoria?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. So what can I expect to watch? Are you gonna have any good Netflix show or something on here?
I could put Succession on, it's really.
Is it? Hey, Bernie, hi, Jerry.
Hi there.
Morning.
How are you?
Good. I know you even with your mask on.
I know, it's part of the disguise.
Who was that?
Max Warren.
Okay, I'm gonna declare it 7 o'clock. And open the public hearing. You guys, Tyler, you wanna tell us anything, talk to us a little bit about what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. We are planning on building a house on my grandfather's land. We had to fall under a minor subdivision, so we've been going through that battle since about October. Here we are now. Hopefully this is, the light at the end of the tunnel. But, we had the site walk Saturday. We had Don and Mike up there. Almost spoiled their Easter egg hunt, but it was all good.
Sometimes
We walked the property, checked it all out.
My apologies for not coming to the
Hey,
party.
I don't blame you.
It was a party.
I didn't wanna be there either, but I was there.
I spaced it out entirely.
You know, all good.
I
So, I
looked at
mean,
my
that's,
appointment book and said, it's Saturday, I don't have anything to do.
I have quite a melodious voice though, don't I?
I-
Good morning, Joe. I mean, I could actually be your wake-up service. We could-
Well, I want you to know, Kathy is on your side, because she told me off, she said, Gary called you up specially to invite you, and you didn't go.
we had a whole box of Joe and donuts up there, but
Oh, my God.
no one to share it with, so.
The only thing I wanted to,
Yeah.
the only thing I wanted to clarify on your statement, because he said on my grandfather's land,
Yeah.
it's his land. 3.09 acres of land, he has a deed, so, yeah, it's his land.
Yep.
Which you have a copy of.
And that's where we're at today.
Hey, Don, we're doing the public hearing, which doesn't need notes, and mostly it's somewhat friendly, somewhat. Is there anybody who has any questions about the McNeil subdivision? Anybody on the board have any questions? So we're gonna close the public hearing. Public hearing's closed. Anybody on the board have any other further questions of them? Okay, I call meeting to order, and, we have 5 members of the board, all voting members. David Strock will be late tonight, and he, I assume, did what he said he would do, which was to look through the narrative of the conditional use permit for you. And so I'm expectant on that, I'm very hopeful on that. So consideration of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I sent them out by email.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm looking for a motion, I was looking at Mike.
Motion to approve the minutes. Second.
Seconded. And any discussion? All those in favor? Great, the minutes are approved. And so this is a continuation of sorts of the previous planning board meeting, and we're considering your conditional use permit. Unfortunately, as I said, David isn't here. I'm gonna cover the one thing you know I'm gonna cover. Is Bernie taken care of?
I know the attorneys are moving forward with it. I think we're just waiting on paperwork. Simple as that.
All right, so it's not totally, but like he says, it's
Yeah,
still
process.
waiting, in process.
Yeah. So I know there's been a mortgage release from my bank that's been shared, I believe, with your attorney.
Yes,
And I believe the bank's attorney is just processing the paperwork.
yeah, I understand he's looking at the, description on the quitclaim deed.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But, I mean, we don't see any issues on my end. And I said if there's any doubt at all, give her more land. It's land that really is of no use to us, and I unfortunately bought this mess, which I didn't realize I purchased this mess. But the second I found out about this mess, I addressed it.
yeah.
I've hired attorneys. I've spoken to your attorney. There doesn't seem to be any negativity.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I'm not running away from it. And I don't see any issues.
I just wanna make sure Bernie's comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't been told that. You haven't been told there were issues, right?
No, no,
Everything's been positive?
pretty much,
Yeah?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to set aside your conditional use permit and deal with Tyler, because
Sure.
it's this findings of fact thing that we started through, and David said
Sure.
he'd do it, and he's much better at that.
And we don't know what time he'll be here today?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You know, lawyers can make twice as much money per hour in Massachusetts than they can.
Oh, no, I get it. I have a lot of lawyers.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
So you pay them more when you
Yeah.
hire them.
I get it, yeah.
Okay. So, do we have Tyler's, application? I was looking through here for the, conditional use permit application. You're gonna have an application if you're gonna.
Got it?
The trouble is, I never know what's gonna come up, like Al Clark coming up. Oh, this is, no, that's you. Do you have it?
I don't have it.
You don't have, I don't have it. Do you have a copy, Don?
I'm looking, hoping that I do, but I think I gave them all to you.
I don't have it.
I don't have it yet. We gave the application fees, all the soil, the water, the map, all of that.
Put the packet together.
Two
but
trees.
last time.
No. Can't wait till next spring.
I didn't end up with it,
You didn't end up with
no. I just presented it when they came.
Do you think David has it? It's in Massachusetts.
I hope not.
I know I have them, but I didn't bring it. I can go get it.
well,
Hasn't been sent out electronically.
It was sent, I sent it electronically, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did.
You sent it?
I think I sent that electronically, maybe a month ago.
It would have been 2 weeks
It would have
ago.
been the last
Couple
meeting.
weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last meeting.
Because we did that, and then we had a site walk.
I got it.
and Look at that.
You got
Here it
it?
is.
Alright, so.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Yay.
Sorry, you'll have to start over.
Here it is.
No.
There you go, Joe.
No, these gift cards are Staples for about $500.
And the maps are there too. I think it's the whole,
Yep.
the whole package I sent out.
And then there's also this, word, oh, that's just the announcement, so this is what you want.
That's what you want.
so, Bob, can we print this off?
I don't know if you can, print it from that phone to the,
Okay?
We can send it to you.
I don't not have a
There.
email receiving device with me right here, so.
Okay. Well, interestingly enough, Gary, I'm just gonna throw this whole thing out, because you and Brenda are the ones applying, and you don't own the land anymore.
He's applying for the minor subdivision.
No.
That's all it is, still.
It's okay.
We got a pepperoni on the pizza.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yep.
See, to print all of that out with plans and everything, we need to do it on that printer.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if you send it to me, I'm not authorized to print over the air over there for some odd reason that I
Okay.
don't understand. If I could, that would be very easy to do it. Otherwise, I really don't know how to do it.
So first of all, as we look at subdivisions, there's a per lot fee.
Yep.
And they are asking for a waiver of that fee, and that's the first thing we have to deal with. $10,000 per lot. Yep. Well, you consider, I see people, selling 2-acre lots for $70,000, advertising them here in Baldwin. So $10,000 per lot or acre fee for a subdivision is not extravagant.
We got a lot of printers on here. We got an Epson 2760 and 4 office jets.
But nobody knows how to use them, so.
All I have to do is hit print.
Right? See, what print?
Who's got the Epson?
What is it?
There's the,
What is the
That's
one
an
in the other
education,
room, though,
yeah.
do you know?
That's in the big one over there.
That's the one we wanna send it to, if you have a way to do that.
So,
Double sided.
I wanna, so on that part, it says $10,000, bottom line, coming up front, and then it says $300 per lot or per acre, whichever is greater.
Right.
So this minor subdivision includes 4 lots that
Yeah.
are all gonna be undeveloped. The only lot that's gonna be developed is mine, so I asked if I could only pay the $300 per my lot and waive the rest. And if somebody else down the road ends up building on one of the lots, then they can pay the $300 to go forward.
so, the way I look at this is, this is a family subdivision, and it's small, it's not, there's not a lot of disturbance to the neighborhood. The neighborhood is all aunts and uncles and grandfathers and stuff like that. And this is not being done for commercial reasons, which I think is another consideration. I would look for a motion to waive the fees. We have a motion, we have a second, and all those in favor of waiving the fees?
Alright.
Okay, because we aren't gonna be hiring anybody to inspect stuff up there either, I mean,
They're invited, come on up. We're hiding nothing up there, so.
there's not much about the ledge to, room to hide it. So what I'm doing is just, this is what I do with anybody, is you look through the ordinance and you look at compliance.
Yep.
I don't need your application to some extent, final plan, application requirements. Proposed name of subdivision, did I see that? Did you,
Yeah, we said, I just wrote McNeil subdivision.
that makes sense.
Keep it pretty simple.
And we've got a copy of your deed,
Yep.
and we do have a standard boundary survey,
It's printing,
okay?
slow but sure, and,
There are no deed restrictions.
there's the,
Great,
document.
thank you.
We just scroll through.
And you're going to, have a standard septic system for one house.
Yep.
Is that stated on here?
Yes, there's in the application, there is a check mark. for-
Septic, town waste, to get
Yep.
pumped, so,
It is
and
on-
also well water.
Yeah, it's on one of those pages.
Individual wells, individual septic tanks.
Yep.
Yeah,
And Bolton Fire Department, rather than having a fire hydrant. Okay, no common land, et cetera, no. Do we see the need for a high-intensity soil survey by a certified soil scientist? Wetland areas shall be identified in the survey regardless of size.
So I spoke with you guys about that about 2 months ago,
Yep.
and I took a soil test from, it'd be technically lot 2, which is my father's house,
Yep,
which is smack dab in the middle of the subdivision.
yep.
We show a soil test, which we turned in with our application, I had copies of it. And I also did, the next question probably coming is
water.
an aquifer hydrogeologist, and I did a lab test of my father's well also at
So I looked at that.
Northeastern Labs in Westbrook.
I looked at that
Turned that in.
information, I said it was fine with me.
You think it's fine? Yep, okay. And again, this is because it is small, it's a family thing. Okay, so do we wanna have a motion to waive, you moving and waive that?
I would move that we waive that requirement based on the information that's been
That has
furnished
been submitted? Okay.
Second motion?
Second.
That's good.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, a lot of stuff here that just doesn't apply, we don't have to worry about names of.
One thing that you guys might be concerned is, I already spoke with them when they did the sidewalk also, but I will have STs when they are putting the road, put a hammerhead in close to our house, that way, in case of emergency, fire truck goes down, they have a spot to turn around
Yep,
also.
well, that's in your drawing too.
That was on the old Hummingbird, so they have a hammerhead there just beyond my father's house.
Yep,
And then Hummingbird will continue, and I'll put an additional hammerhead.
okay,
You have no problem with Bruce coming up. I mean, obviously, if there's a fire or there's an issue, we want the apparatus to be able to get in and get out.
Yep.
Like you say, you know, drive over and, so, yes, there by the extension of Hummingbird, before his driveway, then he said either a hammerhead or I think Dawn had mentioned like a little cul-de-sac, a little area big enough in order to navigate.
yep, okay,
But Joe, we can make that as a condition with our conditions.
okay.
Okay.
Make that as a condition that you put it, yep, sounds good.
Yep.
I'm gonna go 700 copies this week, so I do it at home. I do there like 24 hours.
And you have tested for, septic, you've done your soil test for the septic system.
We did that at my father's, just to get a soil test, but obviously, once I pin my house where it's going,
Yep,
we'll have the septic design and all that.
okay,
Soils look fine for it, though.
Yeah.
there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't apply, like, are there any highways or public parks?
About 45 minutes away.
Yeah. No open spaces to be preserved. 2 to 6 vehicle trips a day is about right, no? Yes, it does need to, indicate what's gonna happen to the road. Yeah, okay, not a problem.
What is gonna happen to the road?
On the sidewalk, I went over with them on Saturday, the 60-foot right of way, the road's gonna fall in between that. It's gonna cut through the field, through the rock wall, it's gonna hug the right side
Yep,
of the abutting property. And then I'll run up, turn into a driveway, and go to my house.
yep. So, can we designate where your house is gonna be on this,
I can roughly,
roughly? So we
Yeah.
put a building envelope
yeah.
on the map.
I'm meeting Estes on Saturday,
Yeah.
because, I mean, there's ledge up there, there's
So
whatever,
you got
so I'm
more
trying to
things-
find the best spot
Okay.
to position this house without blasting and everything else fall in order, so.
Okay. Forget I said anything. We're going over more stuff here, Okay, an erosion and sedimentation control plan prepared in accordance with the Maine Erosion and Sedimentation Control Handbook for Construction, Best Management Practices, published by Cumberland County Soil and Water Conservation District and the Maine Department of Environmental Protection in 1991. Blah, blah, blah. The board may not waive submission to this erosion and sedimentation control plan unless the subdivision is not in the watershed of a great pond. The proposed subdivision will not involve grading, which changes drainage patterns, and the addition of impervious surfaces such as roofs and driveways is less than 5% of the area of the subdivision. The impervious surfaces will be less than 5% of the area of the subdivision.
They're good on all of that.
Yeah. And your drainage is into the Saco, I believe.
Yep.
So a motion to waive an erosion and sedimentation control and, plan is in order. So Mike moves.
I move this. Waive this requirement.
Okay, and,
I'll second that.
okay, and seconded, and all those in favor, yes.
There you go.
How much money do you have on that?
Why?
$5 a cup.
Yeah, just put it on Bob's account. He's the one who did the copy. Okay.
It's only the things that go online that are hard on that. Regular copies are easy, but trying to download something, forget it. I had to do over 700 pages last week. If I tried to do it here, I'd be just 24. Fortunately, I have a faster way.
And we don't need a phosphorus control plan because it's not in the watershed of Great Pond. What is going to be your method of disposal of land clearing and construction debris?
We'll repurpose it on the land. If we're blasting that ledge, I'll use it as a border of a rock wall. If we're digging a hole, I'll use that dirt and loam to finish
So
my wall.
to be used on the property?
Yeah.
So that'll be a condition of this subdivision.
If you find something that's worth money, they'll take it out there.
We have a soils map.
I did turn one in, actually.
Yep, that was what I was
Okay.
just saying. And we have a subsurface wastewater disposal system application and design. Great. Does anybody have any concerns? There's a water test. Anybody have any concerns with it, about this subdivision?
Looks like they've done a lot of good homework on it.
He's been working very hard, and I
Yeah.
admire Tyler for having persevered and
Gotta do what we gotta do.
jumped through all the hoops
Yep.
just so you could live next to that guy.
Yeah. He does have a hot tub.
Oh, okay.
Comes with its perks, you know.
So what do we have for conditions?
Start shopping for water softeners.
Yeah. Realistically.
Conditions.
One is the hammerhead,
Yep,
and the other one is the repurposing of debris.
okay.
Easy.
So, do we want to, complete this?
We have a motion to approve the subdivision with those conditions. I'll make that motion.
Okay,
All right, a second, I move.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? No, you guys are ready to vote, I guess. All those in favor? Okay, great.
There you go.
So, what we're gonna do is, this goes to Don Sharp, and
There's your now.
he writes up the conditions. We come back at our next meeting and we sign it. Just because it's, yeah, you know, if your loan officer needs something, you know,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
But that's how we.
I just have a copy, so I don't need it.
Okay,
I'm sorry, when is the next meeting? Do you say 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Okay.
We have to
So that'll be
attend?
the 27th.
Do we attend that one? Or you guys do the conditions, are you saying?
You wanna send it?
Not really. Yeah,
No,
I
no,
don't know.
You don't have to.
No,
We can leave a copy,
Yeah.
with Don Kent.
John Kent will have a copy.
They could email you a copy.
You're gonna be seeing
Yeah.
this.
I'll call you on Friday.
We found we're trying to get these things out to people right away.
Yep.
And consequently, we were losing them, because we gotta have a copy for the code enforcement officer, a copy for the planning board, a copy for you.
Yep.
You know, and somehow things were falling through the cracks, so we just kinda slowed it down a little bit. But if people need the paper, we can supply something that would make people happy, but.
One thing, Don, there isn't a signature page in that packet.
I noticed that too, yeah.
So,
We need to,
they just, add a signature page from a blank CUP in there.
There was two, so the original time, there wasn't a formal application, they couldn't find it or whatever.
yeah,
So we went through the actual packet, and I went through every subheading and we typed out everything. And then when I came in, we had an application, that application did have a signature page.
Yeah, the last.
The original one that we typed out with all the subheadings, there was
yes.
nothing to sign, obviously.
Thank you for putting up with us.
No, thank you for putting up with us, and,
Yeah,
getting us through, so.
the last page should have a signature though.
This one did?
This, what we've got here doesn't.
Okay.
We will get a signature page before we put our signatures on it.
Perfect. So we're all good?
Yes, thank you very much.
No, thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you all for your flexibility in helping to make this work for us.
Greatly
Even if it was
appreciate
for you, Gary.
You know, I think versus a nursing home, he's gonna have a spare room.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hello.
That's
Keep
my,
them oxy-loaded.
that's my plan.
They have an accessory dwelling unit with your name.
Exactly.
July 1.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, folks, have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
Take care, see you.
Appreciate it,
Bye.
thank
Good
you.
luck with everything.
Thank
Appreciate it,
you.
thank you.
Okay. We tried to put you off, but now you're up again. Now you're up again, okay.
Did he send a copy out? He did, I didn't see it.
No, he didn't. That's what I've got a problem with, because we looked at this and it's got to be revised.
And we laid that on him to give us.
We didn't land on him, he volunteered.
He volunteered, okay.
He volunteered.
Volunteered, okay. So we agreed.
Yes, we agreed.
He said he's about 16 minutes out, that was at 7:19.
So, we're gonna just have a little adjournment for, 15 minutes, and, sorry about that, but
Okay.
we'll all be better off for it.
Can you stop for beer?
For all of us.
Do you want to address that David Blaze issue while we're waiting?
Sure, sure.
I'm not trying to.
So, somebody with a phone, pull up the January 23 board minutes, or you.
I might have it.
You have?
Yeah.
So tell us what the problem is, Don.
On the form to be found in McAfee River, whatever that is, the watershed area,
Yep.
he's saying that his driveway comes off the Firefly Ridge extension. And that's what his claim is, and that's what they put in the information they mailed out. I think you got a copy of it.
Then it's
And you
really
should
too
have
bad he has to go in
that,
front of the Saco River Corridor Commission again and get his driveway straightened out.
Well, it's been an ongoing issue.
And it's too bad, and it's not too bad on us, it's too bad on him.
I would say so. I think he's under the mistaken opinion that once they give approval to build a cabin and a garden and all these things, and a septic system or whatever, he's got permits, and that's not the case. In order to build in that area, they have to give approval first, but then they have to come to the town and go through the process of getting the proper permits and inspection.
So when he came to the town for the subdivision change, for the house he'd already built,
Yeah, what was the date on that?
Which is an illegal structure, because by law, by state law, you have to have an approved septic design for a minimum of a single bedroom house before you can build even a cabin. And if you choose to build a cabin, and you want a primitive system, you can then do it.
It wasn't the 26th.
oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So it was earlier.
Oh, it's earlier. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, I'll find it.
The only objection that came up about the subdivision was that they not come off Firefly Lane.
Well, this is what they've gone with.
So he is being, he's wrong. He's just wrong.
Well, I had a request to do internal plumbing inspections in the fall because it's all been done and everything. No permits were ever pulled. And his mailbox was always full when I tried to call it. But I can't inspect something if there's no permit. So we've got a number of violations down there.
Have you issued any
I'm in the
violation?
process of doing that. I wanted to make sure what planning board felt, because I wasn't here when you gave that conditional permit
Yeah.
in terms of what could or could not be as far as his access. And I'm not clear if his lot's part of that subdivision or not. I just don't know. That was before my time.
Yeah, okay. Do we have the subdivision plan for that?
I don't know. I think David has most of that information.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Looked over here.
I think that would just be.
I'm looking back in June.
Those are the conditional use permits.
June,
June.
okay.
And, he appeared, but we postponed in June, the discussion, until the 23rd.
It is part of the subdivision, because that's why the surveyor came back and spent weeks here. Going through the process.
I need to have that clear in my mind when I speak to people. And up in the air, and I like that. The guidance on that, if I'd been here, I'd have a record of it, I could speak to the issue, but I was not, unfortunately for me. I was not here with the campground either initially, but they, very fortunately for me, brought me up to speed a lot. And to be commended for that. If people try, I do my best. But, I'm not given the information, my hands kind of tied. He mentions in there as to Sacramento Valley, he's got a garden area there, and the garden area was the bottom. One time I was down there, the plants was rising. Got a number of issues there that I believe he needs to address at some point.
What are you looking for, Joe?
I'm looking for the
Firefly
minutes.
Ridge
Yeah,
major
yeah,
subdivision?
Yeah,
Okay, full agenda postponed until the 6/23/2002 meeting.
I have
so
that here.
you have
6/23.
Postponed
It's here,
to
Firefly Ridge major subdivision. Right there.
Can you read us about the notes about that?
Dick Eaton was in attendance at the meeting. Don asked if the Reynolds lots were included in the major subdivision. Dick said it was, and that there are a total of 3 lots in the subdivision. Don expressed a concern about the steep slope of the proposed access road to the Blaze property. No plan, profile, or details of the road were included with the application. Dick said the access road was just a driveway to the Blaze property. Joe was concerned that in the future, the road could provide access to more homes and should be constructed in accordance with town standards. Joe suggested that the following notes be added to the subdivision plan. Any further revisions will require planning board approval and may require access to be improved to town standards. A deed showing a description of the access road right of way shall be provided to the town when the deed's filed. Dick agreed to add the notes. Don made the motion to approve the major subdivision with the addition of the notes. Joe seconded the motion. Motion was unanimously approved.
So I guess what we're looking for is the, what is this?
Is that Riley's Intervale or whatever?
No, that's this here.
Because he was using that temporarily.
This is
the Intervale right here.
That was a temporary one, and he was not allowed to do
Doing a
that.
power line there, what is it for?
Power line there.
Okay.
This is the Intervale right here.
Okay.
And his house is down here.
Oh,
Here.
Want me to look at another one, or is it, I have it pulled up?
Oh, good.
So what he
I
filed,
think I might show here. No, this is the lot.
is there any note?
He added a note.
No.
Look at this.
Access to lot 1 and 4 shall be from Firefly Lane, which are lots 1 and 4.
Where's this one?
Firefly Lane, no, that's not the other lot.
There's 4 and,
Yeah, so these are, but this is not, what's the date on this?
it's not even signed. I don't even know if this is
It's not the whole thing.
It's not the latest one.
Yeah, Gordon Milliken signed this. That tells us,
Already all on the phone.
yeah, Gordon
This is
Milliken.
not the latest now.
No, it is not.
September 91?
Yeah.
This is not the latest.
One unfortunate thing, we have a lot of documents that got altered along the way and whatever, and at some point we need to recognize the final one, which is the one that governs, and probably get rid of the others, because that's very confusing down the road.
Do you have access to the Cumberland County Registry of Deeds?
Yes, we do.
So, that's what I would look for, this,
I found the notes on 23rd.
okay? We've got the,
We were concerned with access road, the topo on that access road. You suggested a note on the plan, which read, any further revisions will require planning board approval and may, require access roads improvements to the town standards. Also, some language to be added to the plan, which says, furnish a deed showing the description of the access road when it is finalized. That's the note that.
so, what would be interesting to me is to see what the Registry of Deeds has on that. Because they should have a plan with a note on it.
Well, the plan that was approved would be required, I believe, to show access to all the lots within the subdivision, and where the driveways go, roadways and what have you.
Yeah.
It should be available somewhere.
Yes, but so, I'd look Cumberland County Registry of Deeds,
We'll try to find it.
unless Mr. Strock could help us.
He probably would be able to, so.
The Lone Ranger comes in.
So we
When in doubt, ask Dick.
So we requested those notes on the 23rd.
And nobody followed through.
He came back with the plan in the next meeting.
He did.
We signed it. I never signed it.
Okay,
Oh.
so where is it?
Where is it? I don't know.
Exactly, that's our problem.
Which is what becomes my problem, because going forward, I have to have things I can reference.
This is what we're trying to straighten out now.
Oh, I know we are, I mean, we're
Yeah.
in a much better place going forward.
Yeah,
Nobody's arguing that. It's just difficult on some of these others that are.
sure. So, anyway, you've got the June 23, I was wrong about the month. June 22.
June 23, we made that request.
22. And then the
23, I
next
think.
meeting in
Yeah,
July.
23, 22. Then the next meeting, which I think was in August, actually,
Okay,
it looks like we signed it then,
we signed it in August, so
August 4th.
you've got record here of what happened.
But where the
With
map is,
that
I don't
part.
know.
Yeah,
Okay. And that may or may not be recorded either.
correct.
Yeah, all right.
And if it's not recorded, then you can't give him a building permit anyway. But we don't, if he's in violation,
He is on several counts.
then he really, have you issued the violation notice?
I did not want to issue the notice until I knew exactly what the situation was, and it's been very hard for me to figure that out. I'd like to have the whole case there when I present it,
Okay,
rather than have a different issue every week or something.
I don't remember seeing the application though, when that was filed.
And his feeling, based on what he got approved, is that his driveway's coming off of Firefly Lane extension.
we were so insistent.
I know.
We were
Beyond
really.
insistent.
Beyond
It's
insistent.
like,
The fact remains, he really can't go forward unless he recognizes that fact. So as
Correct.
far as, he hasn't violated that and he hasn't put in a driveway yet, I suppose one might say.
We saw a bulldozed something,
Right.
when we did our site walk. I was on a site walk,
He had a bulldozer, he had a loader.
yeah,
It was a front-end loader again there.
and he pushed some,
Pushed all the
yeah,
stuff off, it was clearing the road,
yeah,
for clearing some drainage ditches on the roadside.
yeah, yeah.
His septic disposal is out a 3-inch pipe into a bucket, and hopefully it doesn't overflow and run down into the river.
That's the way it is now.
And none of that is permitted. So, the thing is, he's made it clear to the people down there in Cornish that his intent is to build a permanent year-round home there, and to live in this cabin, so-called, while he's building it. And that's only gonna complicate matters even worse if there's not a way in there. If there's a fire or an emergency or whatever. It's just a mess.
It's a mess.
The place with the deck over the steep slope that
Yep.
looks down towards the river, isn't that his permanent home, or that's just a cabin?
Well, he's calling it a cabin, but I think his intent is to make it a home while he builds the regular home. That's the information, you should have a copy of it, Joe, and I know you do, and I know I do. If you wanna call it up, what they approved, and it's approved by them based on his representation of what's in the,
And then he's just gotta go back to them and revise it
so,
after he gets in compliance. But we can't refuse to hear whatever he has to say
right.
unless you issue him a violation notice.
But I need to know exactly what he's violating, and we don't have a copy of it here that I can use.
Okay.
Not trying to be just.
No, that's fine. So
That's
if you're
sort of a dilemma, we kinda gotta figure out exactly what he's done wrong, and then I can issue that.
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the permits he was issued,
I have them, yes.
and they are in compliance with those?
No, he's just made a proposal, and one of the questions they asked is, how are you gonna assess the property? And he said he has access from Firefly Lane Extension, that's his access.
That's not.
And I've heard through the grapevine, I haven't seen it in writing.
Well, you actually, we talked clearly about the access road in adding those notes. It was the steep road that came across the top of the hill and went down. That was the access road.
I don't recall that he actually came in, it was Dick Eaton?
Dick
Yeah,
Eaton, Dick Eaton was here.
Who was doing the subdivision submission. But I don't think the builder ever showed up.
No, the building never showed. It was-
Blaze never showed it. He was at the, he was at the sidewalk.
And it's complicated too, because he's applied for financing, I believe, and there's gonna be a whole lot of stuff that has to be dealt with.
But that's not your problem.
Well, I understand that.
Like, you should tell him, like, I need a copy of the plan that was submitted to the registry of deeds.
Mhm.
Until you get that copy costs $5 for him to go get it down in Portland. Until you give me a copy, I'm not approving anything.
Right. Well, I think at this point, he's of the opinion that he's got all his approval because of the fact.
And you send him a letter saying, you can't do anything until I get X, Y, Z. If you do anything, you're gonna be in violation, and the town can fine you for being in non-compliance.
I just wanted to make certain in terms of what was issued to him by the planning board, because if I quote something, I have to be able to back it up.
But you can tell him to go get it, like, it's the filed new subdivision plan.
Mhm.
Now, it was Dick Eaton that was at the plant, at that 23rd meeting, he made the presentation.
I wasn't there,
I'm just saying, I got it.
I remember this is the one, that I wanted nothing to do with, I thought it was bad from day one.
You would have thought that maybe
You're right.
Dick Eaton would follow through and file the thing, like we did.
He may have, but we
He
didn't
might
get
have.
us a copy.
Yeah.
Cost $5 to get a big plan.
Are you as set as you think you'll be?
Apparently.
Sorry, we can't do better, but we're handing it back to you.
Going forward, where we are due to approve a subdivision like that, the recommended procedure is that a copy of that be put in the file of each of those property lots. So when somebody comes in on Firefly Lane, they'll ask me, we need a permit. I pull the file up, I've got all the information. These are the rules or the regulations, request of the planning board, this is what you gotta do to be in compliance. It's all there, it's all straightforward.
Good point, we should do that with the McNeil subdivision.
We should, and every lot on that subdivision
Should have.
should have a copy of it filed in the property records file, as
Yeah.
well as the planning board. That's a state requirement, I'm supposed to have those in the permanent town file.
So we need to create a file for each lot, is that what you're saying?
Right. And within the subdivision, and it should be, list what the subdivision is and what the requirements are for every lot in it, and then you
Right.
don't have these levels.
So the whole conditional use permit or subdivision plan should be in every
In each
file.
lot.
That's
Yeah,
what the
makes sense.
requirement is, yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
So,
Can
anyway,
we-
we wanna probably deal with the campground.
Can we get to the campground? So, David, you were going to deal with the findings of fact and conclusions of law, Nature's Wilderness Campground, and update that statement?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. But I've been thinking about it the last 2 hours as I drove up from Massachusetts. I think we should just approve it with the same conditions as the prior CUP. So do a motion, I'm just gonna read it, regarding Nature Wilderness application for approval of phase 2 to include 24 additional sites as described in its February 28, 2023 submission. The letter, modified CUP and plan, motion to accept the request to change the CUP on the same conditions as the original CUP dated 6/25/20.
Do we have a second for that?
I'll second the motion.
Second, so now discussion.
I'm not familiar with any of the conditions that were on that thing, so.
So, there are two places where, conditions are discussed. One is their rules, their campground rules. And that is, I don't see a copy in here, it's in here. But in the back of this are the conditions. I too was thinking about it today. You sort of read it read the last, 4 or 5 pages. What I would say
But
is
you were
thinking.
saying last time, that some of these conditions don't really apply.
Yeah, and the more I thought about it, the more, there's only like 3 that are substantive. The Brown Mountain Road sign, the, entrance, not the aperture, but with the radius of the entrance. And those are the only 2 I can actually think of that are substantive, that we require them to, but they're not gonna do anymore.
Okay,
In the original permit, they were required to do, but now we're not required to do.
and that's covered in here,
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. My own contemplation of the campground is that there are 2 things Baldwin has that are very important to you guys, and important to the people who live here. One is that we have black night. We have night here, not like Boston. Boston has string lamps everywhere, and you can't see the stars. You can see the stars, you step out at midnight, there's no clouds. That's very important. We, as a planning board, have tried very hard to state on all conditional use permits that all outdoor lighting will face downwards.
You're talking about light pollution.
Light pollution, it's something I'm very concerned about, and I think should be a selling point for you guys,
Yeah,
you know.
I didn't realize it was a problem.
No, it just, yes, it is a problem.
No, I didn't realize I was creating a problem with light pollution.
I don't think you are.
Oh, I know we aren't.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't think you are.
All right.
But it's sometimes nice to do things on purpose that you're already doing anyway, accidentally.
Sure, you can put that in, and we'd gladly adhere to that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a burden to have me talk
Yeah.
about.
No, not at all.
And, the other thing is noise. And we've, done what we can about noise. Noise is funny up around in there. I was out in the woods a couple of days ago. It was probably closer to your campground than I was to my house. And at first I could hear somebody with a chainsaw, and he stopped, and I couldn't hear anything but the wind in the trees. Absolutely lovely. It's one of the things you can do here in Bolton, is you can go out there and not hear any noise. It's amazing, especially if you come up here from Boston or Mattapan or wherever. But then on my walk home, noise was bouncing around. I could have sworn I heard 2 people talking to each other. I mean, there was so much that I looked around to see who was there. I know, a couple of 3 years ago, I had an experience where I was walking down a path in my woods, and I thought I was gonna get run over by a motorcycle. It was so loud, I was sure they were gonna come out, of the woods. The noise is just, it's weird. There can be nobody there, and you hear them from a mile, 2 miles away, the way the noise bounces around. And, no, I'm satisfied with the conditions there, but I would just hope that you'll keep noise in mind.
Always, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, David.
Can I modify my proposal to say, move to accept the change to the CUP on the same conditions as the original CUP dated 6/25/20, except the requirement for signage on Senator Black Road, the requirement to have a dry hydrant, and the requirement to expand the entrance from Senator Black Road onto Marston Pond Road shall no longer apply.
That's good.
Okay.
And a lot of the rest of these are just camp operations.
Yeah, it's almost stuff, Gee, and I respect the position on noise. There is language in the original that gets in great detail on decibel levels and whatnot.
Yes.
I'm not having rock concerts up there. It's a camping experience. That's how I market it, and that's how I want it.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I saw that.
We're on the same page.
45 decibels at the, at
Yeah,
your property.
it's not even an
Yeah,
issue.
yeah.
I would second, David's motion,
Okay.
the way he modified it.
Anybody else have anything else they wanna say? You good? So, all those in favor of David's motion? Okay.
From the peanut gallery.
Even David votes for his motion.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
David, can you send me that language?
I just put it to.
Oh, there you go.
You got the reason I writing it.
All right.
So, you have it, I explained before, you'll get the written with the signatures.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Don will have
Appreciate
it.
the hard work, I know it's a big pain, but I think moving forward, this was a very healthy exercise for us to go through to kind of hit the reset button on the project.
Yeah, thank you.
And understand where it's at.
Yep.
At least I've learned a lot, so we've all learned a bunch. I've actually, it's a healthy exercise for us to go through, because we know exactly what you guys look for and how it should be moving forward, so appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck.
We good? All right.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it.
Have a great season.
Yeah, we'll try. Looks like it started today.
Yeah.
I'll have to start cleaning the place up.
And hopefully the weather will continue and you get everything done.
Although, I heard it might snow in Vermont next week, so.
Don't tell me
Well, yeah,
that.
we'll see. Yeah. Thank you.
Good night.
Glorious today. It was glorious today.
No, don't take it.
Oh, yes, this is also our annual meeting. Yes, it is.
Rush back.
So important.
Made it back from Burlington to Massachusetts in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's a record.
I made it from Portsmouth in an hour and 15.
That's moving.
Oh, man.
So, so we need officers for next year, and we'll start, with the secretary, and see if there's anybody wanting to arm wrestle Don for the job.
I'm really weak too, so it'd be an easy, contest.
Do we have any nominations? Anybody want to give a campaign speech?
I think Don's gonna, I'll give a speech for Don. I think he's done a great job. I think-
We're doing better. There's issues I wanna work with Don and everybody about filing and stuff. I mean, that's.
You know, and that's the beauty of having different people do it, because there is a learning curve, and, you know, as you learn, you develop the skill set, and I find each person wants to improve it a little bit. Like, I've noticed each secretary improves a little bit more on the person before, but I think you've done a great job keeping it concise and keeping.
The only trouble is, to me, it's a lot of work, and I am working again, so, like I was in Portsmouth today, so I run back, so.
Thank you for coming back.
I didn't pick up the right notebook, I apologize for that. I ran in the house with it, but anyhow, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, we're a volunteer force, so it's what you can give, you know, like, as long as we can keep it moving forward, it's whatever we can give.
Thank you very much. So, all those in favor of Don for secretary?
There you go.
Okay. Did you want to vote against?
Congratulations,
Don?
Don.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Don.
And then, vice presidential, will you perform the honors for another year, David?
Sure,
Okay.
sure, yeah, no, I think it's a good dynamic right now.
So,
Unless Matt wants to do it, like, Matt, do you have any desire to do it? I didn't think you did, but.
No, my plate's pretty full with the planning board, comprehensive plan, and, the job I can't get rid of is treasurer of the library, so,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
full.
I think the next round, one of you should think about this year, but next year, you should think about the vice chair, 'cause it is good to run a couple meetings and kind of see how to do it, 'cause it's scary to do it the first time.
Yeah, I've had every position more than once.
Oh.
I was back in the handwriting days. I was back in hieroglyphic days.
Carbon copy.
So do we have a nomination there? Somebody wanna make the nomination?
Nominate David for vice chair.
Yes.
And you seconded. All those in favor?
There you go.
I'll nominate Joe to be the
Okay.
chairperson.
Second.
And, we're gonna approve it.
This is the job he was born to do.
That's a fine job.
So all those in favor?
Yeah, there you go, Joe.
And those opposed?
Yeah.
You have somebody opposed?
Only me.
Only, that doesn't count.
Thank you.
You lose.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, no, I appreciate working with this board. As David said, it's constantly improving. And, it's a good board to work with. I think we all respect each other and, somehow I think we're coming up with better ways of working as we go along. I appreciate it.
I think it helps to have Don too.
I think we're
And,
done.
yeah,
Big deal.
having the communication and the working relationship is super helpful.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate being able to speak openly with the board.
I appreciate Bob too.
I gotta get a hold of her.
We need the referee. We need the referee. Kumbaya, okay.
She just told me she had health problems and it would take a few months. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't. People wanna tell me about their problems, fine, but if they don't, then it's fine. So a motion to adjourn is in order. We granted a conditional use permit and a subdivision permit, had our annual meeting, and we're still out of here in an hour.
Look at that.
Had a-
That's pretty good.